everyone. Welcome to Lunchtime Live. My name is Maria, and we will see who is joining us today. Give everybody a couple minutes to log on and join us for Lunchtime Live. It is gearing up to be a typical May gray week here. As you can see, we are living up to our May gray reputation here at the Tijuana Estuary down here in Imperial Beach, California. If you are new to Lunchtime Live, hello Kevin, thanks for joining us. If you're new to Lunchtime Live, this is a weekly program at noon on Tuesdays, broadcasting from the Tijuana Estuary in Imperial Beach, California. And we love our followers, and we love anyone that is here for the first time, whether you're watching it live or the video later that we that we save and rebroadcast even on YouTube. I'm standing out here at the nursery and storage building, very close to the visitor center. For those of you who have been here before, may know exactly where I'm standing, and I apologize. It's a little overgrown with some non-native invasive weed-like species, but out here is where we have a wonderful couple of specimens for today's Lunchtime Live. We're going to get Loco for this local legume. If you are familiar with this plant or unfamiliar. You're very welcome. And thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We've been doing Lunchtime Live over a year now. And even when things come back and we open fully and are leading programs in person, we will probably continue this because it's a great way to connect with audiences far and near. Hi, Mark. Oh, you made it. Great. Thanks, Mark is one of our regulars. And thank you very much. Yes, my birthday was yesterday, and it was a great day. So I'm here today broadcasting from the nursery, from the what we call the storage building, which you'll see in a minute, because the specimen, the local legume that we'd like to get crazy about today is out here. But we have a very wonderful stand of them, a prolific stand out at this other area, which is just not unstable connectivity and helicopters directly above, which I would love to broadcast from. Anyway, thank you, and thank you, Kevin, for the birthday wishes. Now let me flip the camera and give you an overview of today's plant, the Loco weed, or Santa Barbara milk vetch. And no, it's not those doors to the storage building. It is the individual. Now it's just hard for me to see. There it is. Astragalus trichopodus. Astragalus trichopodus. Not a very tall or bushy plant. You can see long, slender stems and small leaves. We'll get the camera off of the tripod and take a closer look. I just wanted to give you that overview of this wonderful individual. If you've seen it before, Astragalus trichopodus, commonly known as locoweed, ocean locoweed, or Santa Barbara milk vetch. Although I've never heard it called that. Is a native perennial herb plant found in Southern California and northern Baja. Very distinct. So let's take a closer look at our local legume. What is a legume? We'll address that. So this is a plant in the Fabaceae family, which is the legume family, for those of you who may understand what that means. I will explain it later, but first I just want to speak to this particular individual. We're going to look at another one that's close by. This one's flowering. Hi, Donna. This is a plant flowering early spring through, maybe June or so. Kind of dusky blue gray color, as you can see there. And don't worry, I will get closer. Found in the coastal sage scrub habitat. Found in coastal sage scrub, the dominant plant community of Southern California. There it is. How many of you have seen this plant before? And by the way, I love interaction. Feel free to ask questions about the astragalus trichopodus. Hi, Kimberly. Thanks for joining us. Or you can type them in if you're watching the replay of this as well. I always go back and answer. So please, if you have questions or you want to share an image or a comment regarding a plant you may have, this is something that people like to grow in their yards. It grows very easily. There it is. Thanks for saying hi. I just commonly refer to it as astragalus. Astragalus is the genus name, Astragalus trichopodus, but commonly known as loco weed. And we'll get into it. So there you can see this one has still got some fresh flowers. The flowers bloom in clusters, whitish. And I'll use my hand for scale. You can see these flowers, kind of tubular, in shape. We've got the wind with us again, as usual. Look at those beautiful flowers. Now I have the macro lens with me, so we will snap that on, but just let's look first at stems and leaves. That grayish kind of blue stem. And I don't know if this shows up, but they're hairy, as well as the leaves. Now these leaves, yeah, we'll have to get the macro on here. These leaves are about 4 to 5 inches, maybe. When I say leaves, I'm talking about this. This is a leaf made up of leaflets. So those little sort of ovate shaped, lance shaped leaflets growing opposite. Now let's put the macro lens on and take a closer look at there we go, that's a little better. Let me know, feedback, if you are seeing this. Why is it, oh, there you go, Mark. Why is it called locoweed? Folks call Datura locoweed. I know, common names, you can't rely on them. And there's actually some sort of, there's like, maybe some sort of insect or, wow, this is cool. Look at those hairy leaves, look dusty, right? Those, oh, sorry, leaflets making up the leaf. And the hairy stems. You all see the hairy stems? I hope that's coming in. I know there's a delay. I'll wait for the responses. I hope you are seeing the detail like I am. Hairy leaflets, hairy leaves. Yeah, maybe aphids. I don't have roses, so I've never had roses, so I don't even really know what an aphid looks like in person. Thanks, Anne-Marie. There we go. Ooh, all right. So, I love the symmetry of this plant. I don't know why. So you can see, it does not get very, very big, very sparse. All right, so let's take a look at those flowers. Like I said, it's flowering maybe February to June, depending. And we see those kind of cluster flowers at the end of the stems, of the flower stems. Can you all see that? Very clear. Okay, great. They've got that kind of turned up, almost bird-like, right? Almost bird of paradise-like. Wow. Okay. No scent that I'm aware of here. So, all right. So we've seen, so this is the flowering stage of the astragalus trichopodus. There's another individual very close by, which is at the next stage in the plant's life cycle. So one last look at the flowering astragalus trichopodus, or loco weed, and we'll move over to the next individual out here. And I'll put you guys back on the tripod first. Apologize for all of the rustling as we move. And this might be a nice little tour of our storage area. Not the most beautiful area, but it is a storage area and nursery. Part of the facility here, where most the public wouldn't really get to go. So there is the other individual. What's different? Wait, let me get down there. From this distance, what do you notice? What's different? Might be hard to see. It's in and among the San Diego sunflower, which we looked at a couple weeks ago, as well as the garland chrysanthemum in there, plus some grasses. All right, we'll get this down off of here and take a look at the locoweed, local legume. Local legume. What do I mean by legume? Fabiaceae family. Any botany nerds out there familiar with legumes or Fabiaceae family? These plants, you know, I don't know. I didn't ask Debbie if she planted. I doubt they are planted here. I'm pretty sure these are volunteers. I don't know, because she might be using this area for something other than just a native plant area. So, good question. This, right? Sorry, Mark. Yes, in the pea family. In the pea family. And where do we find peas? That expression, 2 peas in a pod. Yeah, so these are plants where the seeds are found in pods. And so look at that right there. Coming from the flower is a pod. A pod coming from where the flower was. So after fertilization, yeah, pea pods. After pollination, fertilization, right? The pods. So this plant is a little further along in its life cycle with these somewhat leathery to start out. And let me see if we can get this a little better. Hard to tell, but there they are, a bit leathery, and I will share that with you. Little leathery, maybe hard to tell. Okay, but as they dry up, can you hear that? Do you hear? And I'm shaking them a little bit, but when the wind blows, what do you hear? You ever been walking by? So we have an area known as the Brackish Ponds, directly under the path of the helicopter training facility. Was that a rattlesnake? Exactly. So if you've never heard this before, and you're walking in open space or a place where there's a lot of this Santa Barbara milk vetch, ocean locoweed, astragalus trichopodus, and the wind blows, and they're in this stage, it can sound like a rattlesnake. The first time I heard that, I had to stop and I stopped. I was like, what was that? And then I realized that the dried pods, seed pods, blowing in the wind, and look at how many they are. So it can get pretty loud. It can sound like a rattlesnake. So cool. And this plant propagates from seed, so these seeds drop. Now, why is it called locoweed? Why is it called locoweed? Astragalus genus, found many places in the world, used in Chinese medicine, okay, for many years, centuries, I suppose. If you Google astragalus, it is If you Google astragalus, what ends up coming up is actually the herb, the supplement, not the plant. So this is a plant that's consumed. Okay. However, many of the species found in the United States are actually toxic. They're toxic. They can be toxic. And this toxin, neurotoxin poisoning, I guess especially to livestock, produces that loco, that crazy, that effect you would get from taking something that's poisonous. Okay, and like datura, right? Thanks, Mark. So I'm unclear if astragalus trichopodus is actually one of those species that is toxic, and I'm not about to find out. Okay, but it is propagated by seed. Let's see. We'll get the macro on just real quick before we wrap it up here. Not much more to look at. And we've seen, I just love that we can see both stages and even the varying stages of the pod itself. So there you can see a little more leathery, like this one up here, still a little leathery. But there's older, drier ones, and they get even more dry. They get even more dry and much more rattly. And then you find the pods open. Seeds on the ground. Okay. Conditions are right, a new plant will grow. Now I had this plant in my yard, and I think the gophers got it, but it did have a cycle where it went to seed like this, and now I'm finding them. A little sprouts all over, so it grows really very well. It grows very easily in our typical soil in San Diego. So, astragalus trichopodus, loco weed, like many of the species found in the United States, but also used in medicine, Chinese medicine, and supplements. I can tell you, when I first started looking at researching, I looked, and the first thing that came up was the supplement or the herb that you can buy in the store. So there we go. Thank you all. Yes, was that a rattlesnake? Right. Any other questions or comments about the astragalus? That's what I like to call it, astragalus. So there we go. I was struggling a little there. Well, thank you all, and I'm glad you got a little tour of our nursery building. I should say the nursery shade house behind me, a little bit of our storage building, and a little bit of the overgrown weeded area here. I should say not weeded, full of weeds. Storage, and right next to, I should say, the ballpark. Since we're out here, might as well. I've had a few of the yellow crowns fly over me since I've been here setting up. They like these eucalyptus trees in the apartments next door, and then I know that osprey nest. I don't know if you all can see it, but it is, I don't know if I can zoom in. The osprey nest is right under those lights. There it is. Bring it up to you. There's the osprey nest. So, not the most glamorous area, but there's a lot going on. So, anyway, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Love having you. Love your questions. Love your comments. If you're watching later and you have any, feel free to type them in. I come back, I take a look, and answer what I can. So, have a great day, everyone. We'll see you next week. Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you, Donna. Thank you for that resource. We'll check it out. Bye, everyone.